Have you ever noticed someone who looks successful on the outside but quietly lives, paycheck to paycheck, while every upgrade leaves less breathing room? Social media turns expensive moments into proof of progress while hiding the monthly pressure required to keep the image alive. Strangely, many people with real financial security rarely try to signal it because they value freedom more than attention. In many cases, financial insecurity creates a stronger urge to display success because status can temporarily feel safer than savings. This is not about whether luxury is good or bad, but about understanding why status symbols feel emotionally rewarding. The hidden cost of looking successful is often not money alone, but time horizon stress, reduced flexibility, and long-term trade-offs. Welcome to The Margin, where money psychology and modern life are explained with calm numbers instead of loud motivation. Looking wealthy and feeling financially secure are often different goals, and many people slowly trade one for the other without noticing. Since childhood, we quietly learn that success looks like bigger houses, newer cars, and more expensive things. The problem is that visible spending often hides invisible financial pressure underneath it. You can notice a $1,000 watch immediately, but never see the size of someone's emergency fund. Online photos can capture luxury trips, but never include the payments waiting at home. Many people end up chasing the image of success long before building the financial foundation behind it. Looking wealthy delivers quick validation, while becoming financially secure usually follows a longer time horizon. Our brains naturally prefer immediate rewards even when long-term compounding matters more. But the real question is whether impressive purchases actually reduce uncertainty and financial risk. Money originally exists to create options and soften the impact of uncertainty and drawdown. Once money becomes a performance for other people, the relationship quietly starts changing direction. Most emotional purchases are rarely about the object itself because what people often pay for is a feeling they hope will last. A luxury car can sometimes become less about transportation and more about temporarily feeling valued by others. Expensive clothing sometimes delivers less comfort than the quiet hope of fitting into the right room. This behavior does not make people irrational because wanting recognition is part of normal human psychology. Most people are not chasing luxury as much as they are trying to feel that they are already enough. Trouble begins when self-worth depends on status because every upgrade quietly creates the need for another. What feels impressive today can quickly feel ordinary when social standards quietly shift again. The status race feels endless because there will almost always appear to be someone doing slightly better. Chasing external validation becomes exhausting because the destination keeps changing faster than satisfaction arrives. When peace depends on other people's opinions, the long-term cost becomes much higher than the original purchase. Most people calculate the price of buying something but rarely calculate the hidden cost of keeping it. Bigger purchases rarely stop at the purchase because higher maintenance quietly follows behind them. A higher lifestyle creates higher obligations, and every obligation quietly consumes flexibility over time. A young professional finally received a major raise and believed life was about to become easier. A few months later, his income increased, but his expenses quietly expanded to match it. The apartment became nicer, the car became newer, but the financial margin stayed painfully thin. This is the invisible trap where earning more does not automatically create more security. Security is shaped less by what arrives each month and more by what remains afterward. Many people spend every raise maintaining a new image instead of building a stronger foundation. The result is a life that appears more successful from the outside while feeling more vulnerable underneath. One of the strangest parts of wealth is that the strongest financial position often looks completely ordinary from the outside. Many millionaires do not live like social media suggests because appearance and financial freedom rarely move together. The idea became famous because research kept finding that wealth often hides where nobody expects to see it. Their goal is not to look successful, but to keep options open and protect long-term flexibility. They treat every dollar not spent as future capacity because compounding rewards patience more than display. For invisible wealth, status becomes optional while stability becomes the real luxury. Someone driving an ordinary car may quietly have more time horizon and fewer financial constraints than expected. Real wealth often appears as flexibility and calm rather than something that fits inside a photo. In a culture obsessed with visibility, invisible wealth is easy to underestimate even though its value compounds quietly. Because from the outside, freedom rarely looks impressive, but from the inside, it changes everything. Imagine two people earning the exact same salary, yet quietly building completely different futures. One spends almost everything to maintain appearances, while the other quietly protects future options. 5 years later, the richer person may still be unclear, but the safer person becomes easier to recognize. Status often buys short moments of attention, while security quietly buys long periods of calm. In a world that constantly asks for more, peace of mind has become one of the most expensive luxuries. Many people pay immediately to look successful, but hesitate to pay slowly for long-term security. Financial security does not buy perfection, but it creates enough space to think before reacting. That extra room can mean making decisions with a time horizon instead of making choices under pressure. Money that expands your options usually compounds more value than money spent to maintain appearances. Eventually, many people realize the goal was never looking secure, but actually becoming secure. We often treat luxury as something displayed in stores, but the most valuable forms rarely sit behind glass. Imagine if real luxury meant falling asleep without calculating bills in your head every night. An emergency fund may not look impressive online, but it quietly buys time when life becomes volatile. Sometimes the highest form of wealth is having enough margin to walk away from work that damages your health. Financial maturity often changes luxury from looking successful to having a longer time horizon. Luxury purchases may create attention for minutes, but financial margin compounds into years of stability. Peace of mind never needs a visible logo because you feel it long before anyone notices it. Money becomes more useful when it buys choices instead of proving something to strangers. The ability to live without constant financial pressure is a form of luxury that rarely gets photographed. Maybe the rarest luxury is not showing people what you own, but quietly choosing how you live. This is not about judging people who buy expensive things, because enjoying the result of hard work is part of life too. The real question is not what you buy, but whether the purchase comes from intention or from needing approval. If something genuinely improves your daily life that may be reasonable, but buying relief from insecurity usually has a shorter time horizon. Insecurity rarely disappears after a purchase because the feeling often returns once the excitement fades. Then one day the need to prove yourself appears again, and the cycle quietly starts over. Financial security tends to grow more slowly through consistency, but often creates less volatility over the long term. Most lasting change comes from habits that look boring in the moment but benefit from compounding over time. The world will probably keep selling symbols of success because attention has always been part of the business model. What can change is the way you define success, and that decision remains fully yours. Maybe real financial freedom begins at the moment you stop performing success and start building it. Maybe the first sign that your finances are improving is not that your life looks more expensive, but that your mind feels quieter at the end of the month. Maybe wealth is less about impressing people and more about removing the small worries that quietly drain your energy every day. In the long term, the money that matters most is often the money that quietly creates stability instead of attention. Real financial security rarely announces itself because most of its value is felt rather than seen. If this idea feels familiar, then maybe you are already starting to measure money in a different way. A healthier relationship with money usually grows slowly through time horizon and small decisions rather than dramatic changes. If you enjoy conversations like this, subscribe to The Margin for calm stories about work, money, and modern life. So, what feels more valuable over the long term, being seen as successful or feeling secure in your own financial life?